let's see. The Republicans are screaming and, just raising hell about how corrupt the FBI and the Department of Justice is. And it appears that the Democrats are screaming and hollering how the Trump administration is corrupt as all hell. And then, of course, you got Donald Trump screaming up and jumping up and down about how corrupt the Democrats are. And then, gee golly whiz, all the ultra right-wing conservatives are shouting and screaming from the mountaintops how corrupt the FBI and Department of Justice are. And then, let's see, the Democrats and the Republicans back and forth screaming at each other how totally fucked up, corrupt the United States government apparently is. And Christopher Wray over at the FBI and William Barr up there at the Department of Justice, they cover up for the gangster banksters. And as this whole impeachment scenario is unwinding, the Federal Reserve in 1 month, one freaking month, has pumped $500 billion reserve notes, $500 billion in helicopter money into the bankster-gangster system to bail it out again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a point here. I've been pointing out since the 1980s, the early 1980s, about how corrupt FBI and Department of Justice are. And in the ensuing 38 years or so, 40 years or so, it appears that trillions have waltzed off in the pockets of the crookedest gangster banksters in world history. While the FBI pounds their meat, apparently, the Department of Justice is just over there, covering up for the biggest criminals in world history. That Trey Gowdy, now let's bring old Trey Gowdy and his pals at Nelson and Mullins into the conversation, and let's discuss the money laundering propensities of Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citibank, WAMU, Countrywide, Taylor, Bean, and Whitaker. I can go all day naming the crookedest ass banks in the world. Oh, especially the Western banks in Houston, Texas that were operated and looted by FBI agent, Mr. Blackshear, the old FBI guy that ran the Western banks. Right down the street from where Iran-Contra, Charlie Wilson's war, and all this gun-walking, gun-running stuff, and the arming of the ISIS, and the arming of the Mujahideen, and the arming of the Al-Qaeda, and the freedom fighters. Remember the freedom fighters in Nicaragua? Ferdinand Marcos, Manuel Noriega, and the FBI just looked the other way and whitewashed and covered the whole damn thing up. Right, Bill Clinton? Isn't this correct? Hillary? Come on, Hillary Clinton, let's have a chat about it with, oh hell, I don't know, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. And, George Bush. Let's bring old W into this thing. George W. Bush. Shrub, as they call him down in Texas. Folks, I want to say something. I've been calling the FBI dirtier than dogs for decades. I've exposed the fact that this gangster-bankster pile of turds have financed U.S. elections for hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. You see, the gangster-banksters, they rob the system and then they pay off the Justice Department. Correct, Eric Schneiderman? Let's talk about it, Barack Obama, and I don't know, let's bring in old Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder to the discussion with Trey Gowdy. Why is it that the gangster-banksters are pumping hundreds of billions of dollars into a failed banking system during a congressional, Senate, and presidential election cycle? Anybody got any answers for all the fiat, phony baloney helicopter money that's being pumped into the bankster gangster system right before the next presidential elections. Now tell me who's rigging the elections again? Would it be Russia, or would it be the New York Federal Reserve Bank? Would it be the Federal Reserve banks all over the nation pumping in vast amounts of fiat printed right out of the thin air? It doesn't cost them anything to print all this helicopter money, and they flood the accounts of the bankster gangsters who finance the crookedest politicians in world history. So ladies and gentlemen, the next time you hear, Trey Gowdy carrying on about how corrupt Mueller and Comey and Stotts and all the other FBI jerks have been and how they target Don Trump, I got a message for Don Trump. You are not the only American that has been targeted viciously and very criminally by FBI and Department of Justice. So William Barr, former CIA lawyer William Barr, you put that in your damn pipe and smoke it. Smoke it, William Barr. And folks, down below are all the links in the world that you could possibly need to understand that this video is 100% correct. The United States government incorporated the biggest mafia on planet Earth. Folks, have a Merry Christmas, a wonderful New Year, and as always, God bless. Hasta la vista, and certainly we will be back.